well, this is different.
Yeah, so there's something missing and I can't quite put my finger on it.
I don't know. I ain't got time for that.
I ain't got time for that, yeah. Wayne is not present today. What did he get arrested for?
Sure.
What did he get arrested for?
Well, he's waiting sentencing, and that should... No, he's actually on his holidays. We've been having a few hiccups lately because we've had our summer breaks staggered throughout middle August, July, August, and it will go into October. So we might have another person missing after this.
So bear with us, and we may stick him in the edit just for the hardcore fans of Wayne's.
And there's a lot.
For Wayne's reactions, consisting of, I don't have time for that, and I just don't get it.
And why?
Why? So this episode, this should come as no surprise to people from Europe or England, and maybe even America.
Well, it's quite big in America, you know.
Yeah, they are, since the gap. But this episode is going to be... There's going to be a huge chunk at some point talking about Oasis. We can't get around it. Oasis is big news at the moment. Hence why we've had to do this as a 2 rather than a 3.
Yeah.
Because by the time Wayne gets back, it will be old news, and it's already old news. So,
besides, they might have split up again.
They might have split again because they are a volatile pair.
Yeah, well, that's what's made them famous.
Yeah.
As part of their
charm.
Part of their charm, yeah. It's not always the music, is it? It's what something might happen.
It's funny, isn't it? Because like back in the 90s or even in the noughties, it was almost... They were annoying.
Oh,
but
they were.
But you look back on it through rose-tinted glasses, like, oh, it was... Well, I do at least anyway. I look back on it as like, oh, at least there was something happening in music. There was some sort of outlandish characters, like original characters, and they were of the lad.
Yeah, and you either fell in two camps. You either liked them or you didn't. And if you didn't like them, you probably jumped into Blur camp just as a bit of a protest.
But sometimes it's a bit
more
like...
than anything else.
It's a bit like, oh, if it makes you... If you don't like a piece of art and to the point where you're like, that's just awful, I can't stand that art, that's the point of it in a way, because it gets a reaction out of you. So whether you loved them or you hated them, the job was achieved.
Yeah, that were never their intention. They just wanted to be a rock band.
I don't
think
think
art for art's sake.
I don't think they were that smart, but I think Liam really enjoyed the fact that his voice was compared to Johnny Rotten.
Well,
and he lent into that.
Yeah, so, quite heavily.
Quite heavily. So Oasis have announced that they're getting back together for a world tour, after 15 years apart. They broke up in 2009.
2009, yeah.
I saw Blur for the first time at Glastonbury in that summer.
Yep.
They got back together, and Oasis split up.
And then Blur this year, been to America, and then split up after that. So now they've they've reversed it again.
Yeah.
That's something going on there.
I don't know.
Yeah. There were totally different camps as well, weren't there?
Yeah, well, I think the camps were art college meets council lads.
Yeah. And
that's what it were.
Yeah.
Cigarettes and alcohol versus people singing about the universe.
It were, people able to be clever with the lyrics and people doing lyrics which are basically songs for the football terraces.
That's a bit harsh. Yeah. No. I mean, yeah, the choruses are slow, which the football terraces lean into very much, but I think Noel Gallagher is probably one of Britain's finest songwriters.
He developed.
So, they've got back together, right?
You're not agreeing with me on that? No.
It's fine. It's fine. We don't have to agree.
I know.
And if it wasn't exciting enough that they got back together, there's been this huge hoo-ha.
Hoo-ha.
Al Pacino hoo-ha. Hoo-ha.
It's famous for it.
About the tickets.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to keep me up to date with this one because I started... Obviously, everybody was listening to it that's got an interest in music, and then I just got a little bit fed up with hearing about it. So where do we stand at the minute with the tickets and the hoo-ha?
Well, so when the tickets were first announced, everyone's obviously really excited and all the radio stations playing Oasis again, which is nice. And at the time I was thinking, great, this might inspire a new wave of bands.
Yeah, because we're lacking in them.
Yeah, so it might inspire a new wave of bands because, one of Britain's biggest bands that we've produced. And they announced that they were going to give out this link, and it was a lucky dip link. And you could register this link to be emailed to you. And if you got this link, that means you could get early access to the tickets, which I thought, oh, this is good. They're actually taking it seriously. They're really thinking about how to make this fair because there's a huge demand.
Huge demand.
Yeah. So I applied for this link. I never got the link, so I never got the early bird access. But the following day, you got people queuing all day to try and get tickets, and there were hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah, it was becoming a bit of a standing joke, weren't it? Because there were loads of stuff popping up on Instagram.
Yeah,
what are you doing? Well, I've been stood here for the last 10 hours waiting for a response. It's been sort of like the on-running joke for last week.
So the tickets originally for standing were announced to be 150. Oh, I've got it down here actually. I think it was 150 UK sterling. Okay, right. So there were £151 for standing tickets.
Right.
And I thought, okay, I was expecting worse. I was expecting more. Given the hype, given the excitement.
Well, I had 209.
Well, hear me out here. So one of the things that Oasis have accidentally done with all this ticket shenanigans is they've accidentally shown everyone what's wrong with the live music industry. So, I mean, yes, there's great excitement about it, but they've employed somebody to take care of this, right? So, if you were to see them in 2009 when they split up, you could buy a standing ticket for £38.10, all right? Now, I know that a few years have gone by and there's inflation involved with that. So if you add inflation, that would be £58.90. So what we've got is almost 3 times as much.
Yeah.
£151 for standing. So live music doesn't just feel more expensive, it is more expensive. And then this is and also don't forget that they haven't released any new music. This is the old stuff. So
it's jukebox stuff.
So by the time next year when they actually go on tour, they may produce something. So this is all like legacy what we're hearing now. But what's happened is there's this thing. So Ticketmaster, we've spoke about Ticketmaster before, and the controversy around them. America have already raised a case against them because of the way that they manipulate prices and they dominate the market. So they're being investigated by the CMA. What's that stand for? Competition and Market Authority.
Okay.
Right.
And the allegations against them are?
Investigating concerns regarding the sale of Oasis concert tickets by Ticketmaster, including how so-called dynamic pricing may have been used. So, dynamic pricing.
Don't the artists involved have to authorise dynamic pricing?
I don't think they do. Because there was a tweet where Liam was taking the mick out of the price of tickets to see Noel. It was like £300 and something pounds. Mm-hmm. And ironically, they're in the same boat. So this thing what Ticketmaster have just chucked in as dynamic pricing, that is what they say, oh, well, the tickets were popular, so we thought I'd charge more.
Yeah.
So it's like when you order an Uber at a prime time, the price is going to be more because it's supply and demand.
But the thing is about that,
you can't,
which makes it even more cruel or unfair or wrong, is the fact that some people have already pressed that button, they've got in that queue, they're waiting online and they're waiting for a ticket at £151, and then they suddenly realise, oh, they've been taken off the market at 151. They're now put on at 210.
Oh, it's like 300 something quid for the ticket.
300 something quid now.
Yeah,
is it?
because of dynamic pricing, because it was popular. Of course, it was going to be popular.
Yeah. Did they think it would? Well, people. Oh, now.
Yeah.
Did they think it's going to go down? No.
So they're being investigated, which is actually, this may be a good thing, even though it's a bad thing. It may be a good thing.
It might start the ball going in the reverse.
It might usher in change.
Yeah.
Because it really needs it, because it's ridiculous. The ticket touting.
Yeah.
I've never understood this ticket manipulation business. And it's an easy fix, because if you buy tickets for Glastonbury, you've got a picture associated with your ticket. It's got your name on it and an image of your face. Why can't we just do that for everything else?
Why can't we?
Well, it's not that difficult.
Because if we did that, then they wouldn't be able to rip people off.
Dynamic pricing.
Dynamic pricing, ladies and gentlemen.
So the key concerns, lack of clear and timely information on pricing, unfair pressure on customers to buy tickets quickly at inflated prices. So once they get through to the point where they can buy, there's a clock of like 60 seconds saying you've got to buy them. And you can only buy 4 at a time.
Wrong, isn't it? Everything about this is just wrong.
Yeah. And there's a potential violation of consumer protection from unfair trading. But the outcome is that the CMA's finding could lead to measures such as court actions and securing company commitments or new policies on dynamic pricing.
And do you know what I'd like to see? This bit of my idea would never happen. But what I would like to see is the money that's generated over the next couple of weeks through buying tickets for these shows, the shows that's been announced, there will be some more added because of the demand.
Yeah.
The money that's being generated should be put into an account, not an Oasis account.
A Blur account.
Not in my account, it should be put. Not in Ticketmaster's account, because all that's doing is generating interest for that party. It should be put in a separate account where the interest is then fed to a charity or an organisation, a music therapy organisation, something like that, because they're benefiting for 12 months of interest, which, again, I think is wrong.
I mean, that's a really good idea. Somebody surely must have thought about that, and that's how Ticketmaster or whatever are making money on it.
Again, they won't say, oh, well, that's what we'll do, because then they're losing more money.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that would be a good idea, that wouldn't it?
I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Why can't they do it? It'd be a lot easier.
I read some stats about it was something to do with Taylor Swift playing Edinburgh, and there was an inflated news article about how people were outraged the fact that the council had to spend £40,000 on infrastructure for the concert.
Yeah.
So I think she was there for a couple of nights.
Yeah.
You know, like police or roads and stuff, and I don't know, security and just like
new roads,
town planning measures. You know, like traffic and
shut this road off because of
So people are going mad about it because of we're in a cost of living crisis, and should we be spending this out of taxpayers' money? But and that does sound bad. You think, oh yeah, that is quite bad. £40,000.
How many people were marching through the streets on that day?
The impact that Taylor Swift has on the economy for Edinburgh and areas of Scotland is phenomenal.
Yeah,
it far outweighs £40,000. So just shut up.
Yeah. Well, how many nights did she do in Wembley?
Oh, I don't know.
6 or 8, weren't it?
Like that.
Yeah, which were records for that amount of consecutive gigs in that venue.
So wherever she plays, she's spiking the local economy.
The same thing happened in that area of London that's happened with some of these places that Oasis are now going to. There was on the market for, shall we say, a bed and breakfast, or we'll just call it a bed and breakfast. We're not going to the hotels because they'd be even more expensive. So we'll say a bed and breakfast in a guest house, and we'll say, just to be awkward, we'll call it £120 per night. They would put it on at that price, and people booked them places, and then their booking was cancelled, taken off the market, put back on the market at £500.
Dynamic pricing. They did it when Eurovision was in Liverpool.
Well,
all the hotels charged that absolute fortune. And
it's just exploit. I know. They've got to make a living. They aren't going to rip people off.
No, it's disgusting, really, what they're doing.
Yeah. Did the chains put theirs up as well? You know, like Novotel and people like that. Do they put their prices up?
Yeah, they all cash in on it.
They all do it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Airbnb, they all do it. Yeah.
Well, Airbnb is like a private company, though.
Man, they would do, wouldn't it?
But like, you know, like
it's like a Premier Inn is more expensive on a Saturday than it is on Tuesday.
Yeah, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
It
was always a given that Oasis would get back together. And
they've just been hanging out for money. How much money more? Can we wait a bit longer, hype it up a bit more, and then they'll offer us another $1 million?
Well, there's this. I don't think it's anything to do with money. Not in that particular way.
It's everything to do with money.
Well, in some capacity, but people are saying that Norgard has gone through a divorce.
20 million.
That's probably a drop in the ocean, though, because
It's worth a lot more than that, but it's something you can't afford to do. You don't forget this. Apparently, the dotted line was signed on this gig 12 months ago.
right, yeah,
So it would have been just after his divorce.
yeah.
20 million and £8 million mansion. Or
But
whatever.
also, so 12 months ago, there was footage of Noel Gallagher playing. I think it might have been in America, to a very small crowd. It looked like it looked like just some cover band that you could just walk up to.
He said that himself, though, didn't he?
He just
Yeah, I heard him in an interview saying that there were hardly anybody there, and the people at the front were just looking at me like I was gone out because I was come out with original stuff, and they didn't want to hear that. They wanted to hear Oasis stuff.
Yeah, but so I don't. But I know he's gone through a divorce, but I don't think it's about money because he's got a lot of money. He wrote. Well, I've got some more stats for you.
Not stats.
Stats. Bear with me. So he wrote
90% at records.
Well, he wrote 100%, pretty much.
Yeah?
Yeah, he owns the publishing rights to it. So he owns the publishing rights to it. He makes a hell of a lot of money out of it. And next year, he's allowed to sell the back catalogue.
If he wants
So
to.
in 2025, and it's like people are estimating that it's $250 million.
Really?
Yeah. And now, people, so Noel is by no means skin.
Oh, it's not skin.
He's got a lot of,
rich people have never got enough money.
That's true, but
You and I have never got enough money.
No, but that's true. But let's not forget, a few episodes ago, we spoke about that only now has the UK's most played song been overtaken by Wonderwall.
Yeah.
Wonderwall was the most played song, and now it's Killer's Mr. Brightside.
Yeah.
So airplay alone is getting money, and it's one of the biggest selling albums in the world.
Well, the first two albums, they took them to not... They actually did better in America than they did over here. They went to number 1 in America.
Do you know...
And they went to like number 3 over here. I didn't realise how big they were in America.
So Liam Gallagher didn't write any songs until the album Standing on the Shoulder of Giants, which came out in 2000. Right. And his first song that he wrote was a song called Little James, which is about his son.
Okay.
So the first song he wrote, so that's the first song he receives writing credits on, which he gets a bit more money for.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a standing joke between him and Liam, where Noel is always taking mixing. Like when they did really well, their manager bought Noel a Rolls Royce, even though he can't drive, and Liam got a Rolex. So that's the difference.
And he can't tell time.
So that's the difference there. But for the first two albums, Gary Glitter made more money than Liam.
I don't believe that. I know, because of royalties.
Yeah, because of the royalties.
Yeah.
So from the album What's the Story, Morning Glory, they've got a song called Hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello, it's good to be back, hello. They quoted that line, which is a Gary Glitter song. So Gary Glitter made an absolute fortune out of Oasis.
Yeah.
And Liam didn't get as much money than Gary Glitter did.
Oh, Liam didn't. Sorry, I thought you meant they didn't. Yeah.
No.
I buy that, yeah.
So
yeah.
Noel and Gary Glitter made a fortune.
That must really hurt.
So if you have got tickets to see Oasis, you're essentially funding a nonce.
Yeah.
Yes. Shame on you.
If they do decide to play Hello while you're there, boo it.
Yeah. And that was in 1995.
Or even better, get up and walk out.
Yeah, give us your ticket. So Noel doesn't need the money. Liam doesn't need the money. He already made a fortune anyway. And he's had numerous bands, and he's had his solo career, which has been blossoming, arguably better in the last few years than Noel's.
Oh, he has been doing, yeah.
And he's learning how to write, and he's actually doing a pretty good job. So Noel owns 100%.
Because you know why? He's cleaned up, hasn't he?
Well,
he's not completely clean.
He's just sorted himself out a bit.
But his habits that he had before are still there, but they're not to the extreme as they were.
He's grown up a bit, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I predict that in 2025, Noel will sell the publishing rights and make an absolute fortune. And I'm still not too exactly sure what this whole selling publishing rights means, but I know that's quite popular.
Well, it means he owns the publishing rights. He owns the anytime that record's played, he gets money for it. If he sells it, he can still play them, he can still sing them at gigs, he can still do whatever he wants with them, but he don't get any financial reward for that.
Right.
If it's played on radio, he don't get any financial reward for that, but he can still play them.
Right.
And whoever buys them gets the money.
I don't know what I'd like to do. I mean, I don't really have to worry about it, but
No, but
I like to put myself in these imaginary situations where I do.
Well, I think everybody does, don't they? What would you do? Would you hang on to them for another 10 years and see if the price went up? But I don't think they will. I think the bubble will burst on this buying and selling of publishing rights. Well, I think it's already burst to a certain extent.
It's probably going to, but don't forget all the big ones have already sold.
Yeah.
So the hype around Oasis now, and the amount they're getting played on the radio, and the amount of talk, their price has never been as valuable.
Oh,
so
it is at the moment.
So the interesting thing is, Oasis in 2009 were still the same band, still very famous, but they were on the demise of relevance. They were just there all the time, but they weren't.
I don't think they've ever been out at press.
No, they've not.
But they've been in press for not music.
Well, no, the last album they made, I thought it was all right, but I've never been more important since What's the Story, Morning Glory right now. The nostalgia is addictive.
Yeah.
And it was always going to happen because all great bands have a hiatus and come back.
Tends to happen, doesn't it?
And
there were no way they were never going to not come back together.
They were always going to come back. I mean, the brothers, aren't they? So they're always going to happen. So it's exciting times, I think, in music. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff more unravelled about the ticket pricing.
If it has a beneficial effect on that, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm going to go and get a ticket, because I'm not.
I did try.
I'm not interested enough to want to go and get a ticket.
No, you're not. But I think it's a generational thing.
Well, no, I think it's whether you like music or not. And there's some of the tracks that I do like. There's but there's not enough of them that I like.
I'm going to, on the next episode, when Wayne's back, I'm going to show you this clip where you can see all the meticulous samplings that they've taken from bands. And it's quite clever, really. Like, the famous one is, it's on Cigarettes and Alcohol. The riff is essentially T-Rex.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of stuff like that.
There's
a lot of stuff like that.
They make no secret about it.
But have you heard... Now, I've got to remember what they call it now. But I heard it on a film the other day. And I thought, is this who I think it is? And it sounded, for all the world, like Pink Floyd. Or should I say, it sounded all the world like David Gilmour. And it were Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds.
All right.
And it was Dead to the World. If you listen to that, it sounds like a Dave Gilmour track.
Oh, okay.
Next time you get a chance, and you out there, and it's a good track. I liked it, but it's so Floydy Pink Dave Gilmour. It's just uncanny.
He's a big fan of Peter Green as well. Has he got any Peter Green?
Didn't pick any of that up. No? There might be some of that in his albums. Right. I don't particularly think his High Flying Bird band is that bad. I quite like it.
No, it's good band.
Pieces of it, yeah. But I was surprised because it was your mum that says, "Is this Floyd?" No, I didn't recognise the track, and then I think we Shazammed it or something like that, and it turned out to be Noel Gallagher.
You could tell that there's something brewing because I saw an interview with Noel, and he was being complimentary of Liam. I'm like, this is weird. Because usually, they're like taking digs at each other, don't they?
Yeah.
And he was saying, he described the voice, or it described their songs. He was saying, like, it was an accident that we never intended Oasis to have two singers. It's just that some
they had to do it because he bailed out the MTV thing, didn't he?
Well, that's what he used to do. But there were some songs like Don't Look Back in Anger, which Noel sang and stuff like that. And he just said there were just songs that just fitted my voice rather than Liam's. And he said that Liam's voice is like a shot of tequila and my voice is like half a Guinness. He said, so which works well in a set because the intensity is higher when Liam's singing, then everyone can just chill out for a bit when I'm singing, and it's back to Liam again.
Yeah, and he also said within the last 12 months that pick up the phone and call me if you want to get back together. And by that stage, they'd already signed.
It's pantomime, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's all hype.
Yeah.
It's all smoke and mirrors. You can't believe one thing that one's saying or one thing that others saying.
Yeah.
They'd already signed the deal at least 12 months ago.
12 months ago.
So they would have been talking 6 months before that.
Whether they were talking, I don't know.
Well, it'd been a series of phone calls, wasn't it?
Maybe.
And the other thing about this divorce thing, it wasn't Noel that fell out with... Well,
No.
they did. It was Noel's wife that fell out with Liam. They had a spat.
Yeah, oh.
And as soon as his wife was off the scene, they made up again. Because Noel was always going to defend his wife, whatever she'd been saying to Liam. He was always going to stand by her, because that's what happens.
See what I did there?
You see what I did there?
Accidentally referenced an Oasis song.
Did I?
Stand By Me.
Oh, I don't know.
Because I always assumed, when the tickets were going to go on sale,
It's just a champagne supernova, isn't
they'd
it?
just slide away, those tickets.
I don't know. Is that another one?
But don't look back in anger, though, when they're all sold out.
Oh, it's a wonder one. I'm just throwing things in I know now, which don't make any sense.
So I've got a Liam Gallagher story.
Go on then.
There's lots of things coming out now and stuff. It's all like these
What, there's had a hip replacement?
fun stories. So Fran from Travis recalls a story. And this was before the Man Who album came out.
Right.
So it's the peak of Oasis time. So it's like 98, maybe, something like that. 1998.
I think.
No, but they were still like, they were
Okay.
still biggest band in the world probably back then.
Yeah. Do you know, I find that very difficult to believe, but it's true.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
It was true.
So he says that he's backstage at some place and stuff where, like, it's a show or whatever.
Greg's?
Backstage at Greg's. For those in America, it's a pastry place.
Yeah.
And he walks by and he has this, "Oi, you!" And it's Liam, and he ushers him into this room. He says,
What sausage roll?
he says, because Fran's holding a guitar, and he says, "Play me a song." Well, yeah, I mean, Liam was an arsehole, especially when he was younger and he was intoxicated. And Fran says, "Okay," and he decides to play him a song, which he's never played anyone before, and it was before the album came out, and it was a song called Love, L-U-V. And it's if anyone knows the album by Travis, The Man Who, you'll know the song. It's a very sad song. It's a lovely song. And it says, as he was playing it, Liam starts crying. His tears were going down his face. And then he stops. He finishes the song. Liam wipes his face. He goes, "You're not right." And not in such a Yorkshire accent, but "You're not right, you."
You can't do a Mancunian accent.
I can't.
No.
"Sunshine, you're not right."
No.
But yeah,
You're not right.
When he's just sat there crying.
I've got to go back to being a hard man now.
Yeah, it's got to be 10 men again. Yeah. Fran also tells a story, but this isn't related, about when he bumped into Paul McCartney. We have to talk about Paul McCartney, it seems.
Well, he's part of the story, isn't he? He's a big part of the story.
He bumped into Paul McCartney. He's like, "Oh, you're right. Yeah. Oh, let's grab some lunch." So they went out for lunch. And
Greg's again?
Greg's again. They were sat there, table for two. Strangely, you have to book at Greg's, but anyway. Obviously, Paul had a vegan sausage roll.
Obviously.
But he's vegetarian, but that's, they don't have a veggie sausage roll. And they're chatting away, and Paul goes, "Hey, guess what?" He's like, "What?" He says, "I went and visited him." "What are you talking about?" "Oh, Keith, I went down beach. Went over the fence, knocked on his back door. And the housekeeper came to the door. He says, they didn't know I was coming. It was unannounced, but I knew that's where he lived, so I thought I'd scurry down the beach and see him." And housemaid says, Keith will be down in a bit. He's coming here. And Fran's telling the story. He says, and it's weird because Paul was describing it, and you can tell that he was nervous knocking on Keith's house, unannounced.
Yeah, well.
And he said that when they were together...
We've all got fandom, haven't we?
When they were together, they were like chatting away, like all best mates and stuff. And Paul said to Keith, it's like, "Hey, we did it, didn't we? We only went and did it." Like, as in, like, it's been years since they've been famous. They've been famous for,
forever.
Longer than stars have been born. But the fact that Paul can step out of that box and still like marvel at the fact that they've achieved this, and they're both from the same sort of like the same turf.
And the strange thing about it is as well, they were portrayed as certain characters. Squeaky clean Paul and his mates, all nice and shiny haircuts, but they were the ones that were coming from rough end of Liverpool. They're the ones that were knocking about with the girls of ill repute and doing everything that they shouldn't have been doing.
Yeah.
But they were painted like whiter than white. And then there's Keith and his mates who were being portrayed as being the bad boys, but they weren't. They were the middle class boys who want to get up to anything like that because they're far too civilised.
Oh, Keith were, weren't he? Not Keith, sorry, Mick was. He was studying economics.
Yeah. They were good, but they were portrayed to be not. The worst thing they ever did, they had a slash up a garage wall.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, all right, they got busted for drugs, but, Beatles were very lucky not to get a lot more than what they got. I don't think they ever did get fined, did they?
No, I remember this thing in the 80s where Paul was
he got busted for marijuana, didn't he?
Yeah, it was a heated debate about marijuana, and Paul still smokes marijuana.
Oh, yeah, openly?
Yeah. Bad lad. I mean, so Beatles and Oasis are quite hand in hand there. Here's one for you. This is completely unrelated, but I heard this about a week ago.
Alvin Stardust?
Close. Right. Who said this? In fact, Leonard Cohen said this.
Oh, okay. You told me.
Right. Leonard Cohen said this about somebody. Right.
All right.
And I want you to tell me who he's talking about.
Well, so we've been talking about Oasis for the last... So it might be them.
We've swiftly moved on from Oasis. You may have gathered. But,
right.
There'll be more to talk about Oasis.
I didn't notice. Go on then.
Right.
Leonard Cohen said this about somebody.
Blank. Have you got it yet? No. Blank is a figure that arises every 300 to 400 years, who represents and embodies all the finest aspirations of the human heart. He is unparalleled in the world of music and will remain a torch for all singers and all hearts. It's quite a high praise, isn't it?
It can't get much higher than that, can it?
I'll read it again.
Some like godlike status, isn't it?
Is a figure that arises every 300 to 400 years, who represents and embodies all the finest aspirations of the human heart. He is unparalleled in the world of music and will remain a torch for all what did I say?
I'm trying to think of who would he look upon.
All singers and all hearts.
I'm trying to think about who he would look upon as being relevant enough to warrant such praise. And the only person I can think of...
I remember as a wordsmith.
The only person I can think of is Dylan.
Well done.
Oh,
yeah, bang on. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, thanks.
Yeah, it was, and he went on and on. He was praising Bob Dylan to a high degree.
I think he did the same about Cohen, though, didn't he?
Oh, actually, weren't they mates? Isn't there a story about them having a conversation in a restaurant and
This sounds familiar.
Yeah, Bob Dylan was saying like, some such and such song only took me about 15 minutes to write.
That's right. Yeah.
And Leonard Cohen says, oh, Hallelujah took me about 15 years to write.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was a story about...
And they both marvelled at how he could do it in such a short time and why it took him so long.
And
the process for each one were different.
How he was crafting it for 15 years.
Yeah.
Where I think...
It was 6 years, I think.
Something like that. It's a long time. But I think, like, a lot... This is probably way underplaying Dylan's abilities, but it's a bit like where the chips fall. It'll just... It's not going to stress on the wording too much. No, I think he's just very good at laying out lines.
If you listen to some of Dylan's stuff, you can read a lot into it, and you can make of it what you will. And I like it, and I like his voice, and I sort of, a lot of people don't. That's what a lot of people a lot of people off Dylan because of his voice or his vocalization of his songs. But I don't mind that. I mean, I like Tom Waits as well for the same reason. People don't like him because he's got this strange delivery. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. I will lead into say something. I went off on a tangent.
Bob Dylan?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, he's got. Oh yeah, he'll put a lot of lyrics in that you think don't make sense. But if you know the full picture of the story he's trying to tell you, it probably does fit in somewhere. But the casual listener might not always know. Like the last line in one of his songs, and I can't remember, is "The pump don't work because the vandals took the handle," and it doesn't really fit in with everything else he's said in that song. But it obviously does mean something.
Yeah.
If you know the story, then it probably does work. But the pump don't work because the vandals took the handle.
It sounds like it's a talk about government, isn't it? Maybe.
I don't know. It might be. It might be a metaphor for that. I'm not sure.
You can't get the resource without the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Something maybe. I mean, this is just my interpretation.
A lot of his stuff was pointing the finger at stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that might be. You might be on the money there. I don't know. Every time he says it, and I've got it on my playlist, and it comes around quite regularly. And every time he says it, I always think, what is he on about? I must check it out one day, what he's actually on about.
Might spoil the songs for you.
But then I think then sometimes it spoils it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it takes the veneer off it.
Yeah, but having said that, I've always liked Fire and Rain by Taylor. Dennis Taylor, snooker player. No. Wait a minute, sorry. James Taylor. And I learnt the story behind it recently because you can apply it to whatever you want, like you can with every song. And it's a very simple song. It's 3 verses and 3 choruses. And the star of the show, for me, it's very simple musically, but the star of the show for me is A, the lyrics, and B, the drums. If you listen to the drums, they're quite boom, 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 boom. They've got that certain sound to them. It sounds like a vintage kit. It's got quite boomy. And I like it. I like that. But the words, it starts off, it says, just yesterday morning, they let me know you were gone. Suzanne, the plans they made put an end to you. I walked out this morning and I wrote down this song. I just can't remember who to send it to. Now, we've all probably sung that verse. When you've heard it, you go, yeah. But what it is, the song was crafted in 3 time periods. And the first part of it, that particular verse, relates to a period in his life when he'd come to London and he was recording in Abbey Studios because he'd met Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney liked him. Says, you're brilliant. Yeah, what we'll do is we'll make you our first artist on our Apple label.
All right.
So they did. So they went into Abbey Studios and he was recording this album. But what is one of his old friends, from being a kid back in America, committed suicide. So his friends in England didn't tell him because he was focusing. He's in Abbey Studios. He's got Beatles, Paul McCartney mentoring him.
Yeah.
He's making his first album, no distractions. So they didn't tell him till after the album was finished. And it was Suzanne. She committed suicide.
Ah.
I never knew that. And the second verse, then you got, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend, but I always thought I'd see you again. It's talking to Suzanne again, you see.
Yeah.
And that repeats, that's the chorus. The second one is, won't you look down upon me, Jesus? You've got to help me make a stand. You've just got to see me through another day, my body aching and my time is at hand. I won't make it through any other way. And this is part of a period where he was a drug addict for 18 years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, heavy drug addict, heroin. And he's back in America. He knows his friends committed suicide. He's back on
And he thinks he's
drugs
the same
again.
way.
He's back on drugs again. And And I'm going to kill myself here because I'm in such a bad state. So he wrote that line.
Right.
Well, that verse. Then you get the chorus. And the last bit, it is... I've been walking my mind to an easy time. My back turned towards the sun. Lord knows when the cold wind blows, it'll turn your head around. Well, there's hours and times and the telephone line talk about things to come, sweet dreams and flying machines in pieces on the ground. So, a lot of people mused about this. I remember them. But actually, what it is, sweet dreams and flying machines in pieces on the ground, his band were called the Flying Machine. And it split up. And it sort of like was a bit, it was the end of his world when the band split up.
Right.
So that's what that refers to. And the other part is, long times on the telephone, having conversations about things to come, better times to come, because he checked into a mental institute, because he'd been suffering for years.
It took him a long time to write this song, didn't it?
Yeah. But he checked into a mental institute because he'd been doing that all his life, since probably when he was 17, first time he went in.
Wow. Because
he was mentally unstable. He was just paranoid and depressed.
Drugs,
yeah. And obviously, like when he got off, he was 32, I think, when he got off drugs.
All right.
And since then, he's been clean and happy, I think. But it's not. Well, going back to what the original point was, after that bad reading and everything and waffling,
no,
until you know the story.
Yeah, I had no idea.
In some cases, it's better not to know whether that pump is being stolen by the vandal. Maybe it just works because you like it. It just sounds all right. But if you know the story behind what he's saying, it works. Then that works even more powerfully, doesn't it? It's the balance. Which one you want?
It can do, but I think in cases like that, I think it only really hits that new level once you've heard that song for 30 years.
Yeah.
I think if that song's released today and then you know the story behind it, you don't get that you don't get that first bit where you're making up the content of it.
No.
You know, you don't get your own interpretation of it, like,
yeah, maybe.
And then you get this second level, it's like, oh, crap. So then you get to appreciate both of them, what it means to you and what it actually means. But if you know what it means originally, you don't get your own version.
Yeah, maybe you should have to wait 40 years before you actually get it.
Yeah, because I remember Bowie he said in an interview that he never explains his songs because half the time he doesn't really understand, but if he did understand it would spoil the magic of the song. Because it's your own, a lot of the times it can tap into something that's personal to you to a point that you don't even know what it's tapping into.
Yeah.
But it resonates with you. It's that thing where, you know, the tuning forks. So when you hit an A note, you hit it and it's an A, and you can put another tuning fork next to it and it will sympathetically vibrate.
At that key.
Yeah. And it's a bit like that in a very abstract way. Like you hear a song and somehow it'll resonate a part of you without even touching.
Yeah.
It's a very tenuous link, but this actually takes me on to Springsteen. Bruce of the Springsteen.
Oh, right. I don't know any other Springsteens.
Well, Sandra Springsteen, Jacob Springsteen. I'm making these up. So, bear with me. Let's find this one. Okay. I was going to say who said this, but Bruce Springsteen said this, and I found it to be a very interesting way about talking about music. So how we've asked, like, what does music mean?
Right.
How important is music? And he said, if you go to a film, it takes you 2 hours. If you read a book, it's going to take you a couple of days. If you want to listen to a song, give me 3 minutes of your life and I'll change your life.
Yeah, I get his point.
And like music, it's the point of where like there can be a song out there where it can turn your room upside down. It can really like shoehorn a bookmark into your life.
That, but what I take from that is, I think that's a very big-headed statement. I will turn you.
I don't think it's specifically talking about him. I think it's talking about
it
like.
It says he will.
Yeah, but I think it's meaning like the power of music.
yeah, then say that, not so specifically say he will. I get what you're saying, and I get what he's saying, and you can read that that's it. But I instantly think, oh, you big-headed get.
Yeah, tall poppy syndrome. Get down.
Get down. That's it. Be English, for God's sake.
I like the idea of, like, you know, a film you've got to endure 2 hours to get the full punch of it. A book, a couple of days, but you know, I'll give you a song.
It can be done in 3 minutes.
It can be done in 3 minutes, and it's not that the song's saying any more to you. It's probably saying less, and it's probably the point of saying less that actually hits home.
It's them that make you stop and think.
Yeah,
there's some words in them songs that for whatever, good or bad, there's words in some songs that just hit home to people.
And it's not
because
even
it's
words.
a time in their life, it's or reflecting back on a period in their life, some incident in their lives, and it works. It'll stick like snot to a chicken's lip.
I've never seen that, but okay.
Well, it's a novel fact.
Right, okay, I like that one. Something else I learnt this week.
Go on then.
I mean, I don't want to give all my secrets away so far, but
sorry,
I don't want to give all my little trivial bits out that I've learnt this week so quickly. But
you don't want to peek too early, do you?
I'll give you this last one. Joe Satriani and Steve Vai. Yeah. What do they consider to be the perfect solo?
What somebody else has done?
Yeah. And they both had the same answer. Joe said it, and Steve went, "Yeah, I was thinking that."
Oof. Now then, they're both big fans of Hendrix. So I'm going to say Panama by Van Halen.
You're going to be shocked at this. So in the 90s, a certain artist used to bring out these albums where they would play the melody of popular songs. Right. Hank Marvin, Relight My Fire.
All right.
No. Jimi Hendrix, Machine Gun.
Really?
They consider it to be the perfect solo.
Oh.
Yeah.
And the reasons for that were, did they not enlighten you on that one?
I stopped listening.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's enough for me.
Right. Well, the perfect solo. Yeah.
But they did say that
I'd have
it's
to
too
go
difficult.
and listen to it.
Yeah, it's because I mean, I know the song, but as soon
I can't bring it to mind.
As soon as I think of Machine Gun, I think of the Commodores because they've got a song called Machine Gun, haven't they?
Yeah. First thing I thought when you said Machine Gun, because Leo Koch has got a song called Machine Gun, and I quite like that as well. And well, then again, I quite like Leo Koch.
He's dead, right?
No.
Oh, oops.
Sorry, Leo.
Spoiler.
He's deaf in one ear, if that helps.
That'll do.
No, I don't think he's dead anyway. It wasn't last time I looked. You got me thinking now.
Is that? I thought it died.
No, don't think so.
Oh, well, I've got to check this. I've got to fact check it. Can't just say someone's dead without them being dead, and if not, we have to get a hitman out. Right. It is.
And I would imagine they're all completely opposite ends to each other. All these Machine Gun songs.
Oh, yeah, they are. No, he's not dead.
He's not dead.
It's fine.
Yeah, he must be about 80, though.
Well, he's on his way.
Sorry?
He's on his way. Do you know?
Well, technically, we're all on his way.
Well, yeah, I've always thought that I've always wanted to. I've not always wanted to, but I've always in my head planned the perfect response if anyone wanted to ask me weapon of choice.
What's your weapon of choice?
Time.
Yes.
Always a winner.
Yeah, it is.
Time.
Yeah, it's the enemy.
Yeah, you can pick your chain with a big spiky ball on it. All you want. I will win.
Yeah.
I mean,
enough time, and you will keep outdoors.
The ball will get me eventually, but
yeah, well, time is the enemy.
So, Michael Jackson, although specifically this was Janet Jackson talking about it.
Yeah.
Do you know who her cousin is? On her mother's side.
I'll probably say, oh yeah, when you tell me, but at the moment I can't think.
Stevie Wonder.
Oh, I didn't know.
No. And do you know, a few episodes ago we were talking about like, who I'd like to see a biopic of.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a biopic of Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
And I know it's a bit similar to Ray Charles because they were blind, but you know.
Yeah.
Stevie Wonder's got a lot of stories that we're not aware of, like his big drug problem and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but that came later on in life, didn't it? Because he was Songs in the Key of Life, what, 75, somewhere around there, 76? It might have been later, I might be miles off there, but that was, for me, the peak of his recording career. But up to that stage, it had some...
Ebony and Ivory.
Oh, go on, brilliant.
I Just Called to Say Hello. I mean, I Love You.
It had a lot of good stuff before that. Talking about great album.
But it's been nice since he was a kid.
Yeah, he was doing it. I think he was live on stage. His first recorded album was something like when he was 15.
Right.
Something like that. So he's been around a while.
Even like his ability to stand out on a track where he's not even singing, where he's just doing the accordion or the mouth organ.
Mouth organ. Or even the...
like that specific sound.
Here's Stevie Wonder on the accordion solo. No, I'd never heard that.
It's big in Austria.
Yeah, you can always tell it's him.
Yeah.
Very distinctive harmonica player.
Yeah, and has he got like a certain one that nobody else uses?
He wears. He uses one of them quite large ones.
With a stick.
Yeah, well, I don't know what it's called. It's a pitch shifter, isn't it?
Yeah.
That bottom side. But he's got quite a distinctive tone and style. I like his harmonica playing. Some
of their other cousins also include Tracy Chapman.
Shut up.
Samuel Jackson.
It's just naming as many black people that you know, aren't you?
No, apparently this is true.
Really?
Tracy Chapman and Samuel Jackson are like twice removed or whatever. But yeah.
They all go back to the Jackson family.
Not every Christmas, but yeah, apparently they're all related.
Really?
To some degree, yeah.
Oh, is that just... I didn't get that.
That's why I thought it was an interesting fact.
Yeah.
Fact.
Any more?
I've got loads.
No, I mean, any more Jackson family?
Oh, yeah, there's more, but you won't know them.
No.
Bobby Ray, Lisa Lou. They've all got double names.
They do, don't they? Only the best ones.
Only the best.
But Stevie doesn't. A little Stevie.
His full name is Stevie Billy Bobby.
I don't know why.
Stevie Billy Bobby.
No, it's not his full name, Stevie Wonder, is it? It is something else. Steveland Morrison.
Is it?
Yeah. And I've just took that off the top of my head. Would you Google that, please?
Steveland Morrison.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it?
It might be Morrison or Steveland something or other. I might have made that up, but I think it's somewhere near.
Steveland Hardaway. Steveland Hardaway Morris.
Oh, and close then.
Yeah. Ooh, what's Ray Charles' full name?
Arthur Crudup.
Yeah.
No, that's a real person, that Arthur Crudup.
Ray Charles Robinson.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Oh, what's Michael Jackson's middle name?
Rupert.
Joseph. Joseph.
You could go on for hours with that, couldn't you?
Go on for hours. Yeah, Joseph.
Hey, I dragged that to somewhere, didn't I?
What? Oh, yeah.
Steveland Morris.
I had no idea about that.
It's strange what you do remember, isn't it? When you only need that little trigger.
And the trauma comes back, yeah.
And the trauma comes back, yeah. How come you couldn't remember that you murdered him at the time? Well...
Isn't the memory a funny thing?
Yeah. I've got such a bad memory. I'm always telling people I've got such a bad memory, but I can remember. Because we store music information differently.
Yeah, I think it's when you're not required to store it. That's when the brain's like, sod you, I'm keeping it.
Yeah.
I'm holding on to this.
Yeah, my brain does collect a lot of crap.
A lot of crap.
Yeah.
But it does come out every now and again, and someone goes, oh, that's a good
well,
fact.
it does, yeah. And I often quote this one particular thing. Yeah, I've got a poor memory, but I do remember I have this ability to retain crap. What do you mean? Well, do you know when they say cloud nine? Why do they say cloud nine?
Because there are different layers of clouds and...
No, because back in Victorian times, some chap decided that all these different clouds that you see in the sky, he was going to categorise them. That would be a cumulus nimbus, and that would be a long thinning. And
I find that fascinating.
And he gave them all numbers, and the big billowy one that you see, the storm cloud, that is cloud number 9.
Wow.
Because it's the high one. So I'm at the top of that big cloud.
And then bringing this back to music, Bryan Adams had a song called Cloud Number 9.
He did.
In, I want to say 1999, maybe 2000.
Yeah.
Up on cloud number 9.
What fascinates you? What clouds fascinate you?
Just the fact that somebody's got the patience to sit down and look at the clouds and think, okay, there must be a reason for all these, and we'll give them a name.
And the different types.
Yeah.
And they categorise them. Yeah, but have they got no else better to do?
But hey, this is all hot air.
It's all, cumulus nimbus.
Cumulus nimbus. And on that note...
We haven't got Wayne to say it, but
yeah.
Bye.
More Oasis stuff coming up later, probably.
Oh, happy days.